Hello, everyone, and welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 423. Andrew here. So let's get the big one out of the way first. Rockstar, in October, fired 34 people. The people who got fired, and many other of those who didn't, are claiming that this is a union-busting tactic. Is that true? Who can say? Take-Two, the parent company for Rockstar, at the time said that these 34 people were fired for gross misconduct, and then I believe the next week clarified that, saying, "We took action against a small number of individuals, 34, who were found to be distributing and discussing confidential information in a public forum, a violation of our company policies." I'll read that again because the specifics are important as we go over the new evidence that has come out. Individuals were found to be distributing and discussing confidential information in a public forum in violation of company policies. Okay, so what have we learned since then? Well, we have learned new information from the plaintiff side of the argument. Rockstar and Take-Two are being sued for wrongful termination, stuff along those lines. So the information I'm going to talk about today has come exclusively from that side of the conflict. So far as I've seen, there is no evidence from the Take-Two Rockstar side other than the few and vague public statements that they've issued, which in and of itself doesn't really mean anything. This is an active court proceeding, after all. But here's what we have seen so far. There was a union-run Discord server, and on this server were invite-only channels for union members and Rockstar employees. So, to be clear, not a public forum. Now, if you remember, Take-Two's statement was found to be distributing and discussing confidential information in a public forum. If indeed this is what they're talking about, this Discord server, not public. Hello, Chaos. So, the union runs this Discord server. Some of the channels were set up specifically for Rockstar employees. It's invite only. The channel has existed since 2022. The channels do have rules dictating what can and cannot be discussed on that server. On that channel, but what it's used for is for discussions of work conditions, pay structures, internal policies, and the union movement itself. Pardon me. So, in Rockstar, the development studio behind Grand Theft Auto and others, they use Slack, which is a instant messaging communication tool. I use it in my work too. And similar to my work, they have some non-work related community channels within their internal company Slack. Channels dedicated to discussing hobbies and pets and video games in general. Non-work related stuff, right? Towards the middle of October, somewhere around there, Rockstar suddenly took away most, if not all, of these non-work related channels, claiming that, it decreases productivity and blah, blah, blah. Something that, granted, unsurprisingly, the majority, if not all, of the employees thought was pretty damn crap. Another policy change that Rockstar implemented, reportedly, was allowing users the ability to use emojis for their status icons. There are a standard set of status icons for away or out of office or on lunch or active, things like that. You can set it up to use custom emojis, so you can show a picture of a sandwich if you're out to lunch, right? Things like that. One emoji that some employees reportedly liked using was an emoji of a sprout, like a small growing plant, which was a signifier of pro-union thoughts. So Rockstar changed the policy so they can't use any custom emojis, including the pro-union ones. Now, at this point in October, the union had passed the legal threshold to request formal recognition in the UK, a number of actual people. It turns out, if the reporting I'm reading is correct, that these 34 people that were fired lowers that number back under that threshold. That doesn't prove anything, of course, but it is a piece of evidence. These two Slack policy updates, we're getting rid of the non-work related channels, and you can't use emojis anymore for your status updates. These were sent after 5 p.m. Now, at Rockstar, unsurprisingly, because Rockstar has in the past had leaks of, screenshots of like Grand Theft Auto 5 and stuff like that, they do not allow employees to access their work email outside of work. Hey, Chicago. So if 5 o'clock rolls around and you go home and Rockstar sends you an email, like with a policy update, you're not going to see it until you get to work the next morning and check your email, because you can't check your work email at home. So these two new policies came in after hours. Some Rockstar employees were still at the office, saw these annoying and crap policy updates, and decided to share them on the union Discord channel. This appears like it might be what Take-Two/Rockstar were referring to when they said a small number of individuals who were found to be distributing and discussing confidential information in a public forum. It appears that this may be what they're talking about. Employees were discussing internal Slack policies on that Discord server. So maybe a technicality, although, again, not a public forum, so may not matter. But it also, not proof, but this really does, like the whole thing, it's like that firing these people actually drops the number under the threshold they need to be recognized formally in the UK. It kind of feels like this was intentional, sending really shit policy updates after 5 p.m., knowing that people would want to talk about this. Not necessarily the case, but sure does seem like it. So, were screenshots of Grand Theft Auto 6 shared? Were discussions of the marketing plans or game distribution plans discussed? Was code shared on this Discord server? Don't know. Keep in mind that everything we've seen has been provided to us from people who were on that Discord channel. It's possible that they left some stuff out. So far as I'm aware, reporting entity has access to the entire channel. They just have access to what was provided to them. So do keep that in mind. However, if someone was sharing code snippets or builds or screenshots of the game or release strategy info or anything like that, it's very likely that Take-Two/Rockstar would have said specifically that in their statements. But they didn't. And the fact that they didn't say that makes it much more likely, not guaranteed of course, but more likely that there's no evidence of that happening at all. So, among these 34 people who were fired include some decade-long veterans and people on UK work visas. So they're now at risk of deportation. This really comes, again, we only have one side of this, but it really does come off as union busting and just a really shitty thing to do to people. Even if you could argue a technicality that's like, hey, you can't discuss policy stuff outside of the office, even seemingly innocuous stuff like we're closing the non-work related Slack channels. So that's the new stuff we've learned this week on this whole kerfuffle. Rockstar does seem like a union-busting asshat. We'll see what happens from here. So, I hope you all had a lovely Thanksgiving and subsequent Black Friday and are looking forward to Cyber Monday, I guess. I played Horizon Zero Dawn a while back. It's been a couple of years, but I got the complete edition for like $20 or something like that. It was a number of years after it originally came out, but I played it, 100%ed it, in fact, quite liked it. But I finished this game, and I felt I was completely... Actually, when I played this, I think the sequel was already out. I played this, 100%ed it, and I put it on my shelf, and I thought to myself, that was a pretty decent game. I quite enjoyed it. Robot dinosaurs are cool, but it definitely was a lot. I don't feel the need to indulge in any more of Aloy and Friends' adventures, so I'll probably skip the sequel. I'm satisfied. I have had my fill of Horizon Zero Dawns. I do not need another Dawn of Horizon. I've had enough. Again, I didn't think it was bad. I wasn't sick of it. I just felt I had had my fill. It's like you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet, and you're like, I've eaten all the food I want to eat. I'm good now. I could eat more. I'd even enjoy more, but I think I'm good. I don't need any more. Well, Black Friday knocked on my door and said, hey, Horizon Forbidden West, $30. Include it for the complete edition, which includes the DLC content. And I said, I still don't really have any desire to play more Horizon games. Again, I liked it, but I just don't need to play anymore. But $30, I couldn't pass it up, so I bought it, and it's probably going to sit on my shelf unplayed for years. But yeah, I got the the complete edition of Forbidden West. And interestingly, 2 discs, which I haven't seen before. Um, but on the other hand, that would seem to mean that the game is at least mostly on the disc. There doesn't seem to be any good reason to go to the expense of printing two discs if it's just activation codes, right? So it's probably the case that the base game and the DLC is more than what do these hold? 100 gigs, more than what can fit on one disc. So it's two discs. I mean, it's not unheard of. I think the Final Fantasy Remake 2, whatever it was called, I think that was a two-discer also. But it's the first one I've seen. Um, on the other hand, I played Ghost of Tsushima last year and really enjoyed it. And I'm very much looking for... I actually like that game better than Horizon. Granted, it came out afterwards. And so, I'm sure Horizon Forbidden West probably improves on its predecessor in similar ways. But I'm really looking forward to Ghost of Yote, but it came out 2 months ago. It's still $70. Itself is probably going to have some DLC within the next year, so I might wait on that one, and if I get the itch for that kind of game, well, hey, I've got Forbidden West. Chicago says, that's how they get you. The big discounted great deal overpowers the fact that you're not even on the fence about playing. Yeah, it's because I remember sitting. I'm like, yeah, I genuinely don't need to play the sequel. I'm Horizoned out. I'm good. And it's like $30 for the base game and the DLC. I'm like, oh, that's a good deal. Are you gonna play it? Nope, probably not. But it'll look really good on my shelf with all the rest of my unplayed games. Um, Chicago says, I wonder if we're going to get 2 weeks of Cyber Monday. I think that's how long the Black Friday sales were. Yeah. Hey, Jared says, so that means you haven't played any Final Fantasies after 7. Yes. Pretty sure that's true. Yeah, I've played the ones I forget how they're numbered in America. I think it's like 1, 4, and 6 or something like that. I've played the Western releases of Final Fantasy 1, 2, and 3, which I think is like Final Fantasy. I don't know which ones they are, 2, 5, and 6 or something like that. I've played those, but yeah, I've not played Final Fantasy 7 on because they were on PlayStation. I didn't have PlayStation until way later in my life. Um, and as far as the Final Fantasy 7 remake, I've kind of been like, you know what? Several years down the road, they're probably going to do a huge Final Fantasy 7 remake collection. I'll just get that. you know? Um, Chaos says, believe it or not, most games still release on disc and not just a download key. Yeah, many of them do, but which is why I think it's still worth pointing out the ones that don't. You know. Anyway, I actually indulged in another Black Friday sale game called Locomotive, which is a point-and-click adventure game. It's a whodunit mystery that takes place on a train. Locomotive? Yeah. So it was on sale for like 10, $12, something like that. And I picked it up because it looked cute. It has a really attractive art style, and the humor from the marketing seemed to tickle my funny bone. So I picked it up and I played it. Not a terribly long game. Didn't expect it to be. It's like 12, maybe 15 hours. But good game. It definitely comes off as a game that was made by. Let me put it this way: when the credits rolled, and it said, written by these two people who have the same last name. I'm like, oh, siblings, huh? Directed by same two people. Creative team, same two people. Voice direction, same two people. I'm like, uh-huh. Yeah, so the credits encompass maybe 45 different people, and you keep seeing the same names duplicated. So it's a very small team of people who had a lot of who are juggling a bunch of different roles. So the fact that in a very casual playthrough, though I am a quality assurance analyst by trade, so I have the eye for this kind of thing. I ran into a bunch of mostly scripting issues. Um, Luckily, nothing that appeared to soft lock the game. As an example, uh, there's a part in the game where your player character's in prison and there's a guard standing outside your cell. Um, Now, you can try talking to him, and it'll be like, stop talking to me, I'll get in trouble. And if you keep talking to him, his superior will admonish him. How you get out of the cell is you have to, collect the right items and rub them together, which ends up with him falling over unconscious, right? Because you need him out of the way so that you can escape the jail cell. What I found was once he's unconscious, you can still talk to him and go through the script that does the stop talking to me, I'll get in trouble with my superior, and then the superior admonishes him, even though he's unconscious. Funny, probably unintended. I found a couple of things like that throughout the game. Luckily, that doesn't soft block the game. That's not a big deal. There were some other issues with the game is almost entirely voiced. Great voice cast, too. I looked at the names. I didn't actually recognize any of the names, but genuinely really good of vocal performances in this game. But there's at least one point in the game where you have like 3 characters on the screen, and one of them just doesn't have voiced dialogue. I'm not sure if it's a matter of they missed recording those lines, and it was just like, what are you going to do? We didn't record him and the actor's not available anymore. Or if there's some glitch that prevented those voice clips from playing at that time. Luckily, it's subtitled, so it didn't matter that much. But there's a lot of small team stuff that sticks out through the game. That said, solid point-and-click adventure. I had a lot of fun with it. Not a masterpiece by any stretch, but the mystery was pretty simple. It's pretty easy to figure out who done it. Like, there's really only 2 possibilities, and it's not much of a mystery, but that's not really the point. It does a lot of really interesting, engaging things with the structure of the gameplay and how it handles its playable characters, and how it handles like non-chronological storytelling, because there's a point where it jumps back in time and you get to see where characters were an hour before you last saw them, which is really interesting. The puzzles are... There's 2, other than, little glitchy stuff that I talked about, there's 2 main issues with the game. I feel that the game is a bit too visual novel-y for the first hour or so. There's very little actual collect things and rub your inventory against hot spots in the environment to solve puzzles. There's very little of that for the first hour and change of the game. Most of the first part of the... Not that there's none of it, but there's very little of it. Most of the first hour and change of the game is walking from one side of the train to the other side of the train, picking up anything that's not nailed down and stuffing it in your infinite pockets, and talking to every person. So the intro is building up an inventory and getting to know all the characters. There's almost no puzzles. It's very visual novel-y for the first hour and change. I feel like there should have been more puzzles there. Not a huge deal. What is a huge deal is while many of the puzzles are very good, many of them are just kind of obvious, and some of them are pretty obtuse. There was one I actually had to look up a solution for, and when I looked up the solution, I was like, yeah, I never would have thought of that myself. I don't remember which one that is, but there's at least one puzzle where I was like, yeah, I never would have actually thought to do that. That doesn't really make any sense. And there's another one where I understood what I was doing, but I didn't understand why. This one was, there's a drunk guy that you're trying to get information out of, but he's 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 completely unintelligible. So you find out that he drank a special drink, a brand new, a newly invented alcoholic beverage. So you go through this whole gameplay sequence, finding the recipe, then finding substitute ingredients that you can use to make an approximation of this drink, and then finding a container to mix them in, which is a hearing horn. Some old lady is hard of hearing. She has that horn you stick in your ear. You end up stoppering one side of the horn so you can mix stuff in the horn. It's an adventure game. It's like that. So I understood what I was doing. Okay, we're reproducing the drink that got this guy sloshed, but I didn't know why. I went through the entire sequence and did not know why I was doing what I was doing. So I finished the concoction and my character immediately chugged it. I'm like, whoa, uh-oh, did I just kill myself somehow? Am I gonna have to reload a save? Did I die? No, that was the solution. What we were going for here is the only way to understand what this drunken guy is slurring is to get yourself drunk in the exact same way, because if you're drunk using the same thing that he made himself drunk with, then you can understand each other. And I was like, okay. I'm like, maybe there was a clue that I missed, but some type of line of dialogue where the character says, I can't understand a damn thing he's saying, and another character saying like, only someone as drunk as he could understand. All these drunk people can seem to talk to each other just fine. Maybe not something as on the nose as that, but something. So yeah, I mean, some criticisms. Not all the puzzles are the best, but overall, I thought the game was charming, genuinely funny, had some great voice acting. Puzzles, hit and miss. Great scenario. I thought it was very attractive. Great animation. There was an issue with a mirror reflection where you're standing in front of a mirror and the character's facing the camera. What you should see in the mirror behind them is their back, but what you're seeing is their front. So there was every other movement of the character has the reflection in the mirror correct. It's just in one location, in one scene, facing one direction, has the mirror image incorrect. Oops. Small detail, but I pointed and I looked down my nose at it and laughed and said, ha! Why, if I was making this game, it would not have turned out nearly as well. Chicago says, I think you're looking at 10 years at least for Final Fantasy VII Remake Collection. You're going to want to wait until it's on sale. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to buy the Final Fantasy Remake Collection as soon as it comes out. I'm going to wait until a Black Friday drops it to $30 or something. So it's going to be a while before I play that and ride my chocobos across the plains of Midgar. Does Midgar have planes? I don't know. Maybe he trained himself to reply while unconscious. He does his best work asleep. There you go. But anyway, Locomotive, cute, charming game. Definitely worth the $10, $12 I paid for it. If you like point and click adventures, maybe this will be up your alley too. So, this week, I saw Red Sonja. the 2025 version, not the one from the 80s, the one with Brigitte Nielsen and Arnold Schwarzenegger, young Ernie Reyes Jr. Um, I was 5 years old when it came out. I definitely didn't see it when I was 5 years old. Didn't see it till probably it was on TV or home video or something. But I liked the movie just fine. Is it a good movie? No, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's in the same mold of like Beastmaster or any of those, right? It's a lot of fun. They've been trying to make another Red Sonja movie for like 2 decades. This thing has been passed director to director. There've been a bunch of stars attached, including Rona Mitra, who's actually in the movie, not as Red Sonja, but it's nice to see her in there. So I saw the 2025 version of Red Sonja, and is it any good? No, but yes. Chaos says, I didn't know there was a new Red Sonja. Yep, it finally came out this year. They've been trying to make that damn thing for 20 years. Robert Rodriguez was attached to it at one point. Rose McGowan was attached to it at one point. I already mentioned Rona Mitra. I forget who actually directed it, but the lady who plays Red Sonja, I recognized from a film called Revenge, which is a revenge movie. Which is actually really good. It's one of those, it's basically a much smarter, technically competent, and tasteful version of I Spit on Your Grave. So, woman gets assaulted and sexually abused by a bunch of ne'er-do-well men who leave her for dead, but she survives and she kills the shit out of all of them. It's one of those. But this one's actually, in addition to just being, a cathartic good time, it's actually a solidly good movie. So the lady whose name Matilda something, I can't remember her name, she actually plays Sonja in this new version. What I really liked about the movie is it's the most 80s feeling movie that I've seen in a while. Like, if it weren't for the digital effects, which are bad, a lot of these effects look like digital effects from like the mid 90s. They're really bad. It's a shame. It's clear that this movie did not have the luxury of time or money, but they did have location. They had sets and makeup and costumes, and it's all really good. It looks, unless somehow they shot it all on a stage and those digital effects worked really well, who knows? But it looks like it was shot on location on real sets with costumes and makeup and real horses and stuff, and it looks great. And what I really liked about it is, even movies like the original Red Sonja or Beastmaster or Kroll or Deathstalker, any of those movies from that era, none of them are really genuinely good movies, but they're very memorable. At least they have really memorable characters and moments and set pieces. A lot of that probably has to do with what age you saw it, because that will stick in your damn head. Like, if you were my age when you saw, I don't know, Beastmaster, you may not remember much about the movie, but you probably remember like those weird monster things that have like bat wings that stand really still, but then they just kind of like open up their wings and grab you and then just like dissolve you into a puddle of gooey skeletons, right? That was creepy as shit when I was 4. It was, well, not 4, 7 years old or whatever I was when I saw that movie. That stuck in my brain forever. I haven't seen Beastmaster in a long time, but I remember that, Mark Singer never did much after Beastmaster. It's a shame. He was a lot of fun in those movies. What was the character's name? Was it Dar? I think so. And the ferrets, Kodo and Podo. And one of them dies. One of them gets chucked into a fire, but it's okay. In the sequel, they replace Kodo or Podo, whoever got enflambéed, and name them exactly the same thing, so we don't have to worry about the dead ferret. Yeah. Anyway, I actually, through the portal of time, I liked the sequel. I thought it was funny. Oh God, what is the actor who plays the witch in that movie? She's the same one who plays Gedrin in Red Sonja. What is her name? Shit, that's gonna bug me. She's hilarious. I love her. Anyway, yeah, Dar's the Beastmaster. What the hell's the name of the woman who plays Queen Gedrin in Red Sonja? That's gonna bother me. I'll probably wake up at 2 in the morning and go, oh yeah, that's it. It's not Meg Foster. That's she played like Evil Lynn in the Masters of the Universe. What the hell's her name? She plays one of the army ladies in Return of the Living Dead 3. I got IMDb it. That's gonna bug me. It doesn't matter in the least, but that is definitely going to bug me. Red Sonja. Not that one. What's her name? Sandahl Bergman. There we go. Yeah, that's definitely one that would have. I probably would have sat up at 2 in the morning. Sandahl Bergman. That's who it is. Anyway, that doesn't matter. That's not important in the least. What the hell was I talking about? Oh, so all of these movies have like. I mean, you probably remember this, like the scene where Sonja's in Gedrin's lair and she's trying to fight her, but she keeps teleporting all over the place. And then there's this like wizard guy who's like slashing at her in a mirror, and cuts are showing up on Red Sonja's body. And then she finally sees the guy and she stabs his ass. And Gedrin's whole goddamn thing is like, she's like, why are you doing this, you evil asshole queen? And she's like, because she's wearing this like awesome like Phantom of the Opera half mask thing. It's because your damn bird did this. And she's got like a small scar on her face, and she's still like Sandahl Bergman. She's like friggin' gorgeous. And it's like, you've got a badass scar. What is wrong with you? I love that movie. Anyway, so 2025 Red Sonja. The digital effects are terrible. But it's also clear that this movie was biting off more than it could chew. It's like an hour and 50 minutes, and it's way too epic for that length. It feels like it was well over 2 hours, but they were contractually obligated to cut that sucker down under 2, because it's edited like that. There's like connective tissue missing in this movie. It like speed runs itself, and just it's epic. It's epic to a point that it does not have the running time for. But what I was talking about was they do a great at one point in the one big chunk of the movie is Red Sonja gets gladiatored, right? She gets kidnapped and thrown into the, she has to fight in the arena, right? She's the Russell Crowe kind of character there. And all of the character, they've got great characters. Not the best acting in the world, but you've got the baboon lady in the baboon makeup who's really cool. You've got the other woman who's just got like really sharp teeth for some reason. And you've got this other woman who has an amazing bra that I'm looking at this woman's physique. I'm going like, that is amazing brassiere technology for this era. But she needs it. What's her name? Runamitra's there. The barbarian guy is memorable. The guy who gives weapons he's really memorable. He's got a really nice moment. He's the guy who gives Red Sonja her comic book accurate chainmail bikini, and she's like, What the hell's that going to predict? And he says, nothing, but the audience is going to love it. You know, there's the villainess lady with the white hair who, you know, and her big crazy eyes, who just hears ghosts. There's constantly ghosts. The ghosts of her previous victims are tormenting her always. There's just a lot of memorable stuff. So it's not a great movie, but it's not boring. I love the sets. I love the costuming. I love the makeup. You know how if you see particularly movies from like the 70s and 80s where they do the even some of the early 90s where they do the post-apocalyptic stuff because they could just go out in the desert and shoot shit and it's got a lot of production value for little money. And usually what you do is you'd buy like a or rent like a dune buggy and then you just bolt garbage to it to make it look, you know, post-apocalyptic or futuristic. Same thing here. They've got what's clearly like a flatbed truck or something that they've just bolted shit onto to make it look like a, you know, medieval deforestation vehicle that's tearing down the forest and displacing the people, and something that you don't want to get in front of because it's got all the moving spinny bits. It's just going to chop you up like so many trees. Just really great stuff. Still not a good movie, but it's also like the fighting is almost uniformly really bad. And to my eye, it really comes across as they just had no time to previs or train or choreograph or practice. It looks like most of it was like figured out on the day. Like they had no time to do this. And that's a shame because there's a lot of great ideas here. Sandal Bergman, yeah. Chicago says, I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger came out and read Sonja. I thought he was still Conan and thought it was part of the series. I mean, he's not. I think, is it Calidor? Am I remembering that right? He's not Conan, but I think in the comic books, Conan and Red Sonja exist in the same universe, if I'm remembering correctly. I may not be. It may not be every iteration of the comic. But anyway, but what I really wanted to talk about was the relationship between Red Sonja and her horse, because she's fucking that horse. I hate to be crass, I hate to put it out there like that, but oh man, you know how it's not explicitly shown, but it's explicitly told that Sally Hawkins, I think the actor's name is, in Shape of Water, is definitely fucking that fish guy. Red Sonja's fucking that horse. This is the deepest, most passionate love I have seen between two characters in a while. She and that horse are definitely getting on, and hey, I'm not one to judge. She's grown up alone in the forest her entire life with no one but her horse. But, I mean, she sleeps with that horse, and I don't just mean in the carnal sense. I mean, I definitely think she does, but it shows her like spooning the horse. She isn't just leaning against the horse like James. This would be funnier if I could remember the name. Ghost of Tsushima. James Tsushima, you know, the character in Ghost of Tsushima. You know, he leans, the horse is sitting on the ground and he uses it as something to lean against and elbows it and gets up when it's time to go. No, she's spooning this, or well, she's being spooned by this horse. I mean, yeah, they frolic in the water together. The horse is constantly nudging her, and then she, delicately sticks her, naked leg out of the water and caresses its muzzle in a sensual way. I'm like, oh my god, they're blue lagooning this thing, and I'm very uncomfortable. Most of the movie is her trying to rescue her damn horse. I mean, she ends up freeing all the gladiator slaves, but that was kind of her side mission to figuring out where her horse was. Because for her, it's all about, I mean, I rescued all these people, and that's pretty cool, and that one character died, and that's very sad, but, alright, Sonja, you rescued us, we can leave, and we can stage a revolution. She's like, yeah, go for it. And she's like, where are you going? She says, I'm gonna get my horse. And she gets hurt later in the movie, and this horse, lays outside and picks her up off the ground and trots her to safety. I'm like, this is the most touching love story. It's maybe a bit sexually explicit. She definitely has carnal knowledge of this horse. Again, not one to judge, but I don't think the filmmakers would be really happy with the fact that my main takeaway from their Red Sonja movie, which they probably spent 20 years trying to make and finally got off the ground, and my takeaway is Sonja's definitely fucking that horse. They're like, oh, come on, we tried so hard, and you're talking about her, stuffing the horse. And I'm like, I mean, that sounds so one-sided. This is definitely a two-way street relationship here. That is a love that no one is going to get between. And it's true, Sonja has no love interest in this movie. None whatsoever. She's only got eyes for her horse. I mean, to be fair, it's a handsome horse, but the difference between horseback riding and horse riding. Yeah. She definitely rides that horse. Yes, she does. Some of the monster design is really cool. There's a big scorpion monster, like a dual-tailed scorpion monster. Unfortunately, you don't get to see it much, but there is a Cyclops, which is really cool. It's just the effect is really bad, and it doesn't interact with the live-action actors very well. But, like, the design is super cool. They just didn't have the time or budget to render it properly or choreograph or the fight or figure out how to stage it so it comes across on film properly. But man, they managed to sell that relationship between Sonja and the horse. Because that is a love, a passion that will not be denied. I'm the young, handsome king with the fabulous hair, and I run my own empire, and la-da-da-da-da. She's like, that's nice. Have you seen this horse, though? Does that horse have a name? It must, but, their passion transcends mere names. So if you're in the mood for some not very subtle bestiality implications, Red Sonja 2025 is for you. In all seriousness, I have to wonder if the creative team cut the film together and we're watching the final cut and we're like, oh no. Oh no, we didn't intend it, but we just made a movie about a woman fucking a horse. Whoops! I thought it was, you have a movie about a hero who runs back into the burning building to rescue their cat. You don't automatically think the person and the cat are having sex, right? Obviously that's not a thing, and it probably was. That was probably what they were going for. It's like, this is her best friend who she'd do anything for, and they're watching it and they're like, oh no, that's not how it comes off at all. We made a movie about just friends, and everyone watching it went, yeah, just friends, sure. So I also saw Good Boy, which is a movie I'd been quite looking forward to. It's about a man and his dog. They don't have that kind of relationship. They're close, but they're definitely not as close as I'm pretty sure Sonja and her horse are. Anyway, this is a movie that I'd heard about a year ago. And its pitch was, it's a haunted house movie from the perspective of the dog, who can sense the evil of the haunted house that his human is just kind of oblivious to. And I'm like, oh, that's a cool premise. That's a great angle. That could be really, really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing this movie. And it hit the festival circuit over the summer and seemed to do pretty damned well. Had a limited theatrical release this fall and hit Shudder this week. And I watched it and I thought it was bad. And that bums me right the heck out, because I've been really looking forward to it. It's exactly what it says on the tin. It's, a man and his dog move to a house in the woods that is clearly haunted by some malevolent entity, but only the dog seems to be aware of this. That's what the movie is, yes. It's just not a very good movie. I found it genuinely really boring. And the best way I can communicate the why and how of the boredom I felt is thusly. Surely you've seen a video on YouTube or social media of a dog or even a cat raptly watching a film, right? Like a cat watching Mufasa's death in The Lion King. Like, right? There's this video of this cat that's just like, watching the whole dramatic scene of Simba trying to wake up his dad after he fell into the wildebeest stampede, right? And the cat is just staring at this thing, just kind of enraptured. Or, a dog just super focused on, I don't know, Lassie, Air Bud, Benji, whatever. And they're adorable, charming, cute, lovely little videos. But that's the thing. They're little. These videos are like a minute long. Now imagine watching that same video of a cat or a dog watching an entire movie. So a 90-minute video of you, so you are watching a 90-minute video of a dog watching a movie. That's boring. 1-minute video watching a dog watch a movie, that's funny as hell. That's great. A feature-length video of a dog watching a movie is boring, and that's kind of the experience of Good Boy. Most of the movie is the dog going, it's like, here's a noise, and it's like, "80 minutes of that." That's almost the entire movie, is just this dog hearing a noise or sensing something and just staring at it. And from a filmmaking perspective, I can't help but... It was so boring that I kept going into imagining what the filmmakers were actually doing, like shaking a beef jerky stick or a favorite toy just off camera to get the dog to go... Like, this dog is focused on something. I'm like, what was it? What was it? Was it a squeaky toy? Was it a rawhide bone? What were they waving in front of this dog to get it to focus so intently? Don't know. But if that's where your mind is going, the movie is kind of failing. It's also, oddly, a visually inconsistent movie. The picture quality ranges from gorgeous, just clear and pristine, to blurry, to muddy, to very low resolution, to literally out of focus. Like, the focus racks to the dog and doesn't quite get there. Almost, but not quite there. I don't know what the hell happened. The opening of the movie was the picture quality was so poor, I actually checked my television settings to see if it somehow got reset due to an update or something like that. And it wasn't. So I actually checked out the movie on both of my monitors just to make sure it wasn't my television. I don't know what happened with this movie, but the picture quality changes shot to shot, scene to scene. It's really bothersome to me. Still a really cool idea. I bet that thing was a bitch to shoot, particularly trying to get a dog to do what you want. But I did not like the movie. I found it very, very... The dog is definitely cute. Cute dog. That goes a long way. But, man, that is just not an interesting... That was a hard sit. I'm trying to make a dog sit joke out of that, and nothing's coming to me. Oh well. I also saw, in addition to Good Boy, Bad Guys 2. So Bad Guys 2, The Bad Guys 2 is the sequel to The Bad Guys, which is that DreamWorks animated movie about the animal peoples who do heists, but go good by the end of the movie. And so the sequel is they're still trying to go good, but they can't get jobs because they've got felonies on their record, so it's really hard to get a job. Solid movie. I liked it about as well as I liked The Bad Guys. A movie, interestingly, I thought handled its racism / bigotry metaphor so much better than Zootopia did. I haven't seen the Zootopia sequel, but I am amused that from the marketing, it looks like Zootopia 2 was like, mea culpa, we really messed up that racism allegory in the first movie. Yeah, let's just do that over. Maybe we'll get it right this time. I'm looking at the marketing for Zootopia 2. I'm like, so you're just doing the same thing again? Wait, that was... Oh, well, you know, Prey and Predator, it's a racism allegory. It doesn't work, but that's what we meant. It's like, sequel's like, oh, no, we that's not what we meant. We just meant, you know, people from different sides. It's not a race thing. It's an ethnicity thing. It's people from different experiences, different sides of the track, right? This movie is the one about racism. Those reptiles, that's the other ethnicity that people are prejudiced against, right? For no actual good reason, right? And it's like, I don't know. Maybe you should just do a funny animal movie because I don't think your allegories are working here. But I haven't seen the sequel. Maybe it's great. Anyway, The Bad Guys handled that. It's not the same allegory, but it's similar, and it handled it much better than Zootopia. And the sequel doesn't do the same thing over. It actually builds on... So they don't... One of the issues I had with The Incredibles 2 is all of the characters in Incredibles 2 have an arc, but it's the same arc that they had in the first movie. So they like, first movie, arc. And then they just go back and then they do the same arc again. Bad Guys 2, they have an arc in the first movie, and then they have an arc in the second movie that builds off of the completed arc of the first movie. So I found that much more satisfying. But what I really want to talk about when it comes to The Bad Guys 2 is The Bad Guys 2, like probably every animated, big production animated movie I've ever seen, has a section in the credits for production babies. And this is where they list the names of all the babies born to people who worked on the film, obviously. Or that would be a really long list. All of the babies born to the people who worked on the production over the several years that it was in production. The production babies list on The Bad Guys 2 has 4 names. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Only 4 production babies. And this is a big production DreamWorks movie. This was something that's clearly been in production for a few years, right? 4 production babies. I don't know that I have ever seen. I am one of those dorks who watches and reads the credits. I don't recall ever seeing a major studio animated film with a production babies list less than a few dozen. Like, there's usually at least 30 names in that list. So I'm like, what happened here? Uh, was it was the production crew just older? Just a bunch of veterans in their 40s and older, so just they've already started their families. Uh I hope it wasn't a matter that they like crunched the entire production team so hard that they were all too busy to get busy. I hope that wasn't it. So I just yeah, the bad guys too. I quite liked it. I've seen the I don't know how many there are. I've seen two. I've seen the two, or at least I've seen two the bad guys shorts. They're terrible. I like both movies quite a bit. But man, the shorts, one was a Christmas short. I don't remember if like the other one was Halloween or if it was just the bad guys short. They're genuinely bad. But both movies are good, and the second movie only had 4 production babies. I'm not saying there should be more. I'm just saying that's out of the ordinary. And I'm curious if there was any reason why that was the case. So that's all I've got for you this evening. I hope you enjoyed the number of times I speculated about the true nature of the relationship between an adult woman and her horse. I'm sure that was something that you had playing in the background with your family and kids present, and then I suddenly said it, and you're like, "Oh God, what if I?" And your kids are all like, "What was that? What did he say? What about a horse?" And now you've got some really fun conversations to have with your kids or your parents or significant others or whoever. So, I'm glad I could help you connect with your family in that way. It's important to be able to talk freely with the people you're close to. So that's it for tonight. Thank you everyone for hanging out, and hope to see you tomorrow for some more Cold Steel 2 fun. Until then, take care everyone. Bye bye.